Hi, I'm VinceSpeedMark2 and welcome back to my Constellation Space program. Now, if you remember last episode, we arrived in orbit around Duna. Here are our craft, so that's the ascent vehicle. That is the lander slash outpost, and of course that's our Orion return vehicle. That will take us back to Kerbin. What we're going to do in this episode is we're going to transfer all the troops, all the astronauts, Kerbinauts if you like, into the outpost lander, and we're also going to land the ascent vehicle, pick out a nice spot to land somewhere nice and flat, and then try and land the outpost virtually on top of it. I'm aiming for about less than 50 meters, simply because I've got some fuel transfer apparatus here. So I've got some of the Kerbal attachment system winches and docking ports on both vehicles, so we can transfer the fuel from the outpost lander over to the ascent vehicle, just to make sure we've got enough fuel to get back up into orbit. Besides that, that's about it. That's the plan for this episode. So obviously we'll get the guys going over. We'll get Bill, because Bill's going to be. We'll get Bob actually. Bob's going to be the pilot for the lander. We'll get him to go over first, so he can occupy the pilot seat. Get the lights on because I can't see what's going on this end of the ship. Okay, and here we are. And board. Obviously I'll do the rest off screen, but that's the plan for the episode, so do watch and do enjoy. I'll try and keep it as short as possible. And of course we've got the KRBL news shot of the heroic Maxi Kerman failing to drift across as he's supposed to. This is Maxi. As you remember, Maxi is the journalist that's going to be covering the surface day on Duna. As always, Maxi's pretty hapless and has no idea what's going on. And that's it. History being made. First journalist into a Duna lander. I know it did say in the initial brief that we'd be following the normal mission profile for an Altair Orion landing, and leaving one Kerbal to pilot the Orion while everyone else goes on the surface. But I've changed my mind. I think I'm going to take all 7 to the surface because we need all the Kerbals we can get on Duna, and B, it would be such a shame for someone to have made it all the way to Duna just to sit around in orbit for a good 500 days or whatever it's going to take, and then go back to Kerbin without ever having set a foot on Duna. So we'll take everyone with us for the moment, and that's everyone transferred into the lander. Now what we'll do is we'll switch over to the ascent vehicle and try and pick a good landing spot. What we'll do is we'll also retract those panels because we need to make sure we've got power when we get onto the ground. That's the ascent vehicle ready, and the ascent vehicle contains, I've forgotten now, the pressurized rover. So that needs to get there safely as well. And let's switch to map mode and see if we can pick somewhere nice to land along the equator. Of course, you can't zoom in very far in this view, and it all looks pretty flat until you realise that it actually isn't. I think we'll actually go for this Midland looking like area here, simply because it looks flat and reasonably high up, so we'll go for that, he says from orbit without much confidence. What we'll have to do is go around one more orbit and then come back and land. Okay, so here we are approaching the maneuver node. I think it's going to be about 25-second burn, so that shouldn't be too long. Turn that RCS off because we need that on the way back up. What we're going to do is we've set up an aiming point for there. We're going to aim for that area, and we'll see where we actually end up so that we can calculate. Well, we can try and get the best flight landing path for the outpost. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to land the outpost. Oop, missed my node. But what I'm trying to do is basically land the outpost right on top of the ascent vehicle. There goes the outpost now. Try and land it right on top of the ascent vehicle, so that we've not got too far for our Kerbals to go, and also we can transfer whatever fuel's left in the outpost into the ascent vehicle. Okay, so we are pretty much spot on, actually. Brilliant. So with that done, we will just coast down into the atmosphere. I'm not expecting much in the way of re-entry effects because of the thin atmosphere and the high altitude that we're landing at. However, that also means we don't get much aero braking either for just to cushion our landing, which means a lot of fuel used to land, and these chutes really won't be up to much. But let's see how it goes. Oh, before I forget, I'll put the brakes on because we don't want the rover rolling away down the hill and crashing into something else, like in the vehicle demonstration videos. Okay, we're at 20,000 meters and nothing in the way of re-entry effects, so we'll get rid of this heat shield. That's heat shield gone, partially. And I think we'll have the old propulsive slowing down, because I'm not really trusting much on Duna's atmosphere. And maybe get the chutes out as well in a second. In fact, chutes out now. Ooh. No atmosphere whatever to activate the chutes. There you go, got some now. Okay, and we've slowed down a bit. So what we'll do now that we've slowed down is we'll release the rover. Release the rover. Okay, and gear down. So the rover should land reasonably softly. It's going faster at the moment because I set its parachutes to open a little bit later. It's looking pretty textbook at the moment, except for I've forgotten to let the gear down. Right, gear's down. Rover chutes have deployed, so that's looking good. And I think we should be probably within a few hundred meters of the rover, which is great. And if we look on the map, we're actually pretty much a bit further than where we thought we would be, actually. Right. Okay, and propulsive landing, here we go. Okay, and touchdown. Brilliant. Not super flat, but not too far off, actually. Only a few degrees from the vertical, and that is the first landing on the Windspeed Mark II Kerbal Space Program for Duna. And obviously you can see that the the pressurized rover, that landed pretty much as we needed it to. So that's looking good. Here's the ascent vehicle up here, not looking too bad either. So that is all in all a successful landing, the first phase of the landing. Why are we still showing that we're moving? Never mind. Close that off. And we are pretty much here. We're pretty much where we wanted to be. So we should aim basically a few degrees further than where we want to go, and we should end up right on top of this. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go back up, going to get the rest of the crew down and landed into this area. So here we are, back at the Orion orbiter and the Duna Explorer. And the outpost, Duna outpost. I think Bill is trying to skive his excursions to Duna. Is it Bill? It is Bill. Maybe he's a little bit afraid, I'm not too sure, but he's going to do that final transfer over. Okay, there he is. All aboard. We're going to undock the ascent vehicle. Okay, there it is. And now we're going to set up a maneuver node to get us pretty much right on top of ascent vehicle is the word I'm looking for. Also, whilst we're waiting, in fact I'm going to wait till we do the burn, I need to reset up the staging so that all the parachutes go off at the same time, and not, as you can see here, rovers first and then outpost. Because if we do that, all the rovers will end up scattered miles all over Duna, and I have not got time to go around picking them all up. Okay, so deorbit burn, and bye bye Orion now. Probably not that much, maybe wait till about 18. Okay, so we're pretty much spot on where we want to end up. Let's close that, set this as the target, and here we go. Before I forget, I'm going to put the brakes on. Okay, so here we are entering the lower reaches of Duna's atmosphere. We're going to try and ditch the heat shield at around 20,000 meters, which is about now. So off with the heat shield, because we've had no re-entry effects yet again. So I think this was a waste of time to put a heat shield on this. And then at about 15 we'll start the propulsive braking. That's about now. And we'll get the main chutes out. Hang on, let's have a look. Map. Main chutes out now. Try and correct our flight path as well. This is looking good at the moment. Looking very good. Okay, rover shoots out. And then drop one, and then the other. Ooh, that did not look good. We may have ruined a rover. Gear down. We'll have to put up with that though. I may be charging it from. Okay, so we can get a bit closer in, but I think we're pretty much there actually. Make sure the rovers aren't going to land on top of us. Okay, and here we are. Touchdown on the surface of Duna, 98 meters, and just about to get stood on by two rovers, but 98 meters from the ascent vehicle. I was hoping for a bit closer, I was hoping for about 50 meters. Rovers are coming down, they're looking good. Hopefully not too much bounce there. And obviously there's some bits of falling photovoltaic panel because we did damage one rover. I'll have a look and see at that in a minute, but for the most part we are actually down pretty intact, within 97 meters from the ascent vehicle, which is great, so not too much walking. Everyone's looking pretty healthy. Let's get this deployed. Let's get our first team shot of the crew arriving on Duna. Obviously Jebediah Kerman, who's a mission commander, will be out first to plant the flag and whatnot. He's probably thinking about some very poignant historical words to be said as soon as he sets foot on Duna, but well, I don't know what he's going to say. Probably something to do with snacks or other. And here we are. This is the first time I have set foot on Duna with a Kerbal, or with a well, obviously we did the first unmanned landing over there, but this is the first time a Kerbal from my space program has made it to Duna. Plant one flag, and we'll put some words on there. We'll call it Kerbal's Landing. Okay, there you go. That should be artistic enough for the historians. Craft's looking good. We'll get the rest of the crew out. Who should we have out next? Get Bob out. As he was kind enough to fly us here with his brilliant piloting skills. We've managed to make it pretty much intact. We've lost the solar panels from one rover, but we should be able to overcome that pretty easily by maybe cannibalizing the panels from probably from the ascent vehicle, actually, because they've got similar panels, if not identical. But we can do that later. There's Bob, and obviously I won't show you the rest of the crew getting out, but I'll see you in a minute when we take the group shot. Okay, so here we are, a successful landing on Duna. The whole crew is now out on the surface, from right to left, from left to right as you're looking at it. You've got Bill, got Luttray, Lanlo, Maxi as always, Jeb, Bob, and of course Chadbus. And this has been Vinspeed Mark II and my Constellation Space Program. Thanks for watching. Next episode, we'll be obviously going to sort out the mess with the rovers, because they are in a right old mess at the moment, and we'll also be preparing for takeoff, because we've got to get ready for that straight away, just in case we do need to do an emergency takeoff. And what we'll do is transfer the fuel over to the ascent vehicle. But for now, thanks for watching, and see you next time.